Hi, this is Team DoopCube doing a project called Massive Data Zoomer, which focuses on data discovery and data visualization theme. The task in big data would be to support easy visualization of data browsing, wherein massive data sets are involved in the order of 1 terabytes in Yahoo dataset, which also contains many dimensions and as well as various data types of the data. The requirements for such a solution would be controllable view granularity, which would provide the details at a coarse level, the big picture level, as well as the finer details level. And the view presented should be human friendly and should be easily understandable by the end user. So an example of such a visual interface would be Google Maps and Photo Viewer, wherein you can zoom out and zoom in to the level of detail.
The user will do the interaction in the iterations. In each iteration, the user can do either a zoom in operation or a zoom out operation. In the zoom in operation, we divide the current cell of current rows into smaller cells. This system will show the summary of each cell, and the user will pick the smaller cell that is interesting to him. To zoom in the current cell with respect to a key attribute, we have the hierarchy associated with this key attribute, and we know where we are on this hierarchy. In particular, we can see the zoom in operation as going down the hierarchy tree. So for example, now we are at the Canada node. If we go down one level, we will arrive at the city level. So we'll group the current cells by the city names to get smaller cells, and the user will pick among these cells. The zoom out operation is simply going up the hierarchy, which means we undo the previous zoom in operation and close the cells back. For the user to pick an interesting cell among many small cells, instead of showing all the rows contained in each cell, we will show the summary of each cell. The summary should be discretely statistics so that the user could decide which one is interesting to him. For example, we could have histograms.
So for our implementation, we're using Hadoop and Pig Latin. Because we want to have real-time interaction, we're pre-computing part of the data cube on attributes of interest. Data cubing is essentially slicing the data across selected dimensions and aggregating each resulting slice. We're doing this in order to, because the size of the data is so large, we want to do some operations ahead of time and only do essential operations on the fly. Pig Latin supports basic cubing and rollup operations, which is what we're using. We make use of the rollup operations for hierarchical data in order to have a more space-efficient cube. The hierarchical data I'm talking about right now is for instance, region ID and cities, where there is some hierarchy associated with the data. The second part of our project is to do with the visualization, where visualizing queries using JavaScript and Google Charts. Our milestones for the project were to allow the zooming in and zooming out functionality on one particular field, then move on to generalizing this idea and actually building the system that achieves this, and finally visualizing the data. What we've achieved so far is that we have the visualization, we have the zooming in, zooming out functionality nailed down for one particular attribute, and we're now working on generalizing this approach further and generalizing to and actually building the system to do this. And then finally, we've also done part of the visualization work already, and we'll build on that more later.
So now for a quick demo, let's say the user wants to see the best campaign in California. We can run the query and give him the following visualization, which shows that campaign ID 4674892 has the most impressions in California. If he wants to zoom into California, we can show him the subregions of California and show how each region in California did, along with the number of impressions. Let's say they want to find the maximum region for this campaign. We can run the query and show that New York has the highest number of queries for this campaign. And finally, just to give the user an overview of the campaign, we can show the entire US map along with the corresponding number of impressions.